Well, folks, good evening to you, one and all, and welcome to the final round for the season. And I think it's going to be something else. This is going to be one of those ones where it's old Group N style racing. Not a lot of power, reasonable amount of grip, and you've got to carry the speed through. If you don't carry the speed through, you ain't going to be going anywhere fast. That is for sure. So, the points, the way that it is at the moment, it looks like Johan Verrees pretty much wrapped it off, but everything behind that is wide open. It can go in any direction at this stage of the fight. So, let's have a look, see exactly who we're going to be having a eyeball on out there. The likes of the Canon entry of Carl Lawrence, Johan Verrees carrying the 114 plate on the side of his car, Willem Botha, the man from Toyota Gazoo, South Africa, who will be going to the Dakar, and not that long from now. It's just a couple of weeks away. In fact, 5, 6, 7 weeks, and he's gone. Mr. Gerald Verrees finishes his warm-up lap, starts his first flyer. Leon van Wyk, the Being IT entry, resplendent in his favorite color, white. The only super senior out there tonight, Peter van der Spey. He's got it all to play for, but nothing to lose out there tonight as the only super senior. Going to be going for line honors. Christian van Wyk, the new man for this season, that's acquitted himself exceptionally well. JJ van der Merwe had some mediocre ones, had some good ones, had some brilliant ones in this season. Timothy Stanton had a bit of disappointments recently, but always out there and smiling and having fun. The super duper quick Leighton Verrees, youngest man out there on circuit. And then Neil Lamprecht. So Johan Verrees is going to be the first man to come around to complete a full lap after the warm-up. And looking at all those purple sectors, he'll definitely go to the top end of the log as he comes up towards the line. And he'll pop onto the top. Ooh, that's a very respectable opening time at 2:01. That's quick. That is quick. Leon van Wyk is in the house at this stage of the fight. Oh, Gerald Verrees wants to go and play with Johan Verrees up front. That's going to make for some interesting stuff. That is for sure. Leon van Wyk presently the third fastest out there. Neil Lamprecht presently the fourth fastest out there. Christian van Wyk in the 7 comes across the line. Leighton Verrees, third fastest. The Verrees are in the house. Johan, Gerald, and Leighton. Father, son, and ex-champion. Main circuit. I must say, for Gerald to fight against the likes of Johan Verrees and Leighton Verrees, you've got to be in there. You've got to be in it to win it. What about Willem Botha? Where's Willem? Willem will probably round out that front grouping of 4. I would tend to think that he would, depending on how good this specific lap of his is, would probably pop in around about 3rd or 4th. Let's see when he comes around, how much speed can he carry through there. Peter van der Spey, all green sectors. Willem Botha has not put up a time yet. Oh, drifting it through there initially, just keeping the hammer flat. Comes up towards the line. What is his opening salvo going to be as he puts one across the bow? Ooh, Willem Botha goes to the front row of the grid. Takes 3/10 out of Gerald. Well, I'm pretty sure that Leighton's going to be back in the mix in the not too distant future. Where is Leighton? Here he comes around now. 0.9 of a second off. He'll definitely, if this was a realistic lap, he'll definitely knock some of that off. Kind of a very similar entry line there as to what we saw on the previous car that came through. Pretty sure Leighton's going to bump it up. Oh, he bumps it big. Makes it the Fourie threesome up front. And as I said, Willem Botha probably pop into that third or fourth position, and that's exactly what has happened. But the interesting part is that the front four are all within less than half a second of one another. Probably find that a slipstream is worth a good 0.2 or 0.3 on a 2-minute lap around the circuit. Probably at least that amount, nothing less than that. As we keep an eye on Leighton Fourie. Let's see what kind of lines Leighton Fourie is running. Timothy Stanton's got a whole bunch of green sectors going there. Timothy Stanton that finds himself at the bottom right now of the pecking order. He wants to get himself up a whole bunch higher than that and end on a high for the season. He got his way through Galp. It's his turn 15. There he goes in. Oh, that was nice and smooth. Very nice and smooth by Timothy Stanton. Carries lots of speed through there, but doesn't help him at the end of this lap. It'll definitely help him at the beginning of the next lap. I'm sure that's, yeah, it's already a smidgen quicker. 1.5 in that one. JJ van der Merwe's got one green sector. I don't think that's going to help at all. Stays 1.2 off. Nobody apart from Leighton is putting in any green sectors at the moment now. As we keep an eye on Timothy. Oh, Johan Fourie's got a green sector in there. He's got almost 0.3 of a second on Gerald, but Gerald won't give up. Gerald will keep on right until the last. One warm-up and 4 flyers is what was expected is going to be the layout for what you can get through in the qualifying. Still keeping an eye on Timothy Stanton. Green sector. Timothy saying, I'm not going to be at the back of this pack for long, boys. I be a coming. Easing it through there, picking up. Leon van Wyck's got himself a green sector. Lying 6th overall behind Neil Lamprecht, the man from Induction Noise, powered by ROWE Lubricants. 77 car going to be coming around Gulf Corner, turn 15 for the last time. He won't get another lap in after this, so it's now or never for Timothy Stanton. Seems to have carried some good pace through there. Can he take a smidgen out of that lap time? Go just a little bit quicker. Nope. That is where it's going to stay. 1.5 minutes to go. So Leighton Fourie has got 3 green sectors. He needs less than 2/10 to put himself alongside Johan Fourie and knock his dad off the front row of the grid. Look at that. Look how smooth Leighton comes through there. Nibbles away at that curbstone as well. Shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Leighton Fourie, can he jump onto the front row of the grid? Nope, he doesn't. And that was his last opportunity. Carl Lawrence goes ahead of Neil Lamprecht up into 5th position. I don't think Willem Botha is going to be able to complete another lap. No, he's too far out. Carl Lawrence, he's too far out. Neil Lamprecht, he's too far out. What we've got is how it's going to end. Having said that, Leighton uses every second to be able to ensure that he gets as much practice in as possible. Just 15 seconds left to go. So for those of you that have just arrived, Sports and GT round number 12, the final round of season 15, Algarve in the GR86s, the Toyota GR86s, which Willem will love. He can relate to that, being a Toyota man. Right, let's see how's this going to play itself out. Johan Fourie, Gerald, Johan Fourie, Gerald Fourie, Leighton Fourie, Willem Botha. It doesn't get tighter than that. Carl Lawrence beating out on Neil Lamprecht, Leon and Christian. That's a strong showing by Carl Lawrence. But can he hold on to the back of that fearsome front four? That's going to be difficult. He can beat out on the rest, but to hold on to that front four, well, I don't know. It's going to be very difficult. As we have a look from our induction noise blimp, the lights go on, the lights go off, and everybody comes off the line pretty well. In fact, it's a lovely pull through there by Carl Lawrence. Carl Lawrence has got the best of everybody on the starts. Willem Botha is right on that outside line. Can he sweep right around the outside? Carl Lawrence has got to hold on. Carl Lawrence does a brilliant job coming up on his inside line. It looks like that is Gerald Fourie that is right in there, and it's Leighton that's right in there as well. Leon van Wyk tries to have a look around the outside. JJ makes use of that opportunity and comes up on his right-hand side. There's JJ in the green car. Well, that's right, that's JJ that's coming off the back end of the pack. And Christian van Wyk right in there in that mid-pack battle. Everybody makes it through. So far, so good. It's all about Johan Fourie. That's going to be once again the pace setter, and Willem's got to hold on to him. Carl Lawrence, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant start. Carl Lawrence ahead of Leighton Fourie. Probably not for very long, but right now he is there. Leighton's been doing the ADAC International Series this year. As he works his way through there, there is Gerald Fourie directly behind that in the Castrol car. Neil Lamprecht directly behind him in the induction noise, powered by ROWE lubrication, blue mean machine. Christian van Wyk, different colors for Christian this time, black with the green edging and roof. Pretty nice looking number 7 car that in there behind him, the being IT of Leon van Wyk. Captain Peter van der Spey ahead of Timothy Stanton that came off the back end of the pack, and it is JJ van der Merwe that finds himself now behind Timothy Stanton, while Johan Fourie leads them across the line. Remember, that's from a standing start. The action's going to be around about there. Gerald and Leighton, and Neil closes right up. Carl runs it pretty wide. Neil Lamprecht closes right up onto the back of that little battle of Leighton and Gerald Fourie. They won't hold one another up too much. They've got very similar race styles and strategies. Gerald initially taught Leighton. In the latter years, Leighton is teaching Gerald some of the tricks. Oh, Carl's run wide. Carl Lawrence has run wide, and look at that. Here comes Leighton Fourie. Becker side, Gerald on the left-hand side, Leighton on the right-hand side. Your name's Carl Lawrence. You're in a Ferree sandwich, and Gerald Ferree backs out to live another day. Neil Lamprecht decides it's now or never. Got to go up on that inside line, and he sticks it through, and the 7 has gone right around. Unfortunately, Christian van Wyk didn't work out for him. Carl Lawrence still trying to hold on, but it's going to be Leighton Ferree that's going to get through. Now, Leighton knows he's got to hoof it. Oh, went in just a little bit too deep. That's going to cost Leighton quite a bit of pace, and that will take Gerald Ferree through. Neil finds himself sandwiched in there, nowhere to go. Leon takes that opportunity, so Leighton's going to live to fight another day. He's down to that 5th. He needed to get through to be able to get onto the back end of Willem and Johan, because if they get away, even the likes of Leighton Ferree will not have an easy time reeling them in. Can he do it? Yes, he can, for sure. But it's not going to be an easy ride to be able to do that. Now Leighton finds himself behind Leon. Can he, should he be able to get past Leon? Oh, a 201.8. Getting the hammer down. Here comes Leighton Ferree. Probably going to have to close that line off Leon van Wyk. If he doesn't, Leighton's going to pop up on the inside. Gerald just in front of that. Neil Lamprecht uses a squabble in front of him to make an opportunistic move to get up even closer. The being IT entry on the inside line. Leighton Ferree on the outside. Backs out of that one. Make sure there's no contact. He's got Neil on his outside line. Now he pulls it in nice and tight. Leon has now got a mirror full of 2 cars. Which one is going to be the one that's going to try and get in on him? Leighton Ferree on the inside line. Neil's going to try and do the proverbial cutback, but Leighton's got good pace coming out there. Now, while that's on the go, Timothy Stanton has drawn a whole bunch closer to that. He's made sure that he gets right in there. Timothy Stanton in behind Neil Lamprecht. Literally, that's how close they are. Going for that faster line. There's nobody directly behind him. He's got nothing to lose. Carry that speed through. Old Group N style. Not a whole bunch of power. Not a lot of grip. On a fairly heavy. I think these cars are just under 1.1 ton. I think it's 1080 in race trim. In the Toyota Gazoo Racing Series right here in South Africa that traverses all the main tracks throughout the country. Oh, lost a bit of pace there with the back end coming out. Now trying to have a look on that outside line. Gets up alongside. Neil's going to try and make use of this one. Can he carry enough pace through there? And Leighton chops his nose off. Says, where are you going, sunshine? Now Neil will try and go for that inside line. Leon goes right towards the wall, tries to get away from it before Leighton can come in there. Neil comes in there. Now they're going to go 3 abreast, trying to push towards the outside, and Leighton will do the proverbial 2-car cutback, and Timothy Stanton comes to play as well. Timothy Stanton is right in there. He dives up on that inside line, tries to make sure that he doesn't make any contact with the being IT entry of Leon van Wyk. And Neil Lamprecht comes up on the other side. Now he does the cutback. Does Neil Lamprecht. Whoopsie. Almost making contact there, Timothy Stanton, as he dived back in and onto the line. What a brilliant dice so far. Closes off that inside line. Makes sure nobody can get past him. Leon van Wyk, Leighton Ferree in front of him. Leighton's now got open ground. Leighton has got the ground that he needs, as we keep an eye on Timothy Stanton right there. Down the hill they go. Just keep the hammer down. Try not to scrub off any unnecessary speed. Run it in fairly deep. Get a rather late apex. Use as much of the curb as possible. Don't run it too deep into the revs. It runs out of puff very easily, these GR86 Toyotas. Leon gets the back end wagging just a little. Neil's right in there behind him. Now Leon is doing a marketing venture on what's happening on the Ferrari car directly in front of him. If he can emulate exactly what Leighton is doing in front of him, he will be on a quick lap. Of that, there is no doubt. Let's have a look. 202.5. Neil goes into the pits. 202.1. Willem Botha is the quickest of the two of them. Gerald Ferrari in open space, quicker than Leighton, but remember Leighton was in the traffic. Leon had a bit of open ground, has closed slightly on Leighton, but remember there was passing maneuvers in that last lap. A 202.562 by Carl Lawrence. That's pretty effective, Carl Lawrence. Neil Dumprax is into the pits, so is JJ van der Merwe. In fact, JJ's on his way out of the pits already, as we ride on board with Timothy Stanton. Johan Verri's got himself a little bit of a gap. Nothing over the major at the front end of the field. There is Johan Verri, and Willem Botha is right in there behind him. Let's have a look at the last lap times between these two. 202.5, 202.1. Willem was the quicker of the two, and that by around about 0.4 of a second, and you can visually see the difference there. Having said that, taking 0.3 out of both, or out of Willem, dives up on that inside line, has a sneak preview of what it looks like to have nothing in front of you, but you don't get past Johan Verri that easily. You got to do more than just a sneak preview and dive. Right now, Gerald Verri will say, fight one another. Keep on doing that. I'll catch you. I've just did a 201.8. You guys are on 202.1 and 202.5. And Willem Botha is going for it. Willem Botha is hungry. He's going for this one. He's going to run it slightly wider. Johan Verri will stay right on that curbstone. Can he get the slingshot coming out? Whoa, he's not going to get into that fight. Johan Verri decides going to the pits. Let Willem Botha go. So what is Leighton going to do? Leighton comes through. What does Leon do? Leon comes through. So does Timothy Stanton and Peter van der Spey. Timothy Stanton's on the move. Carl Lawrence starting to get a whole bunch closer there as well. So let's see who has been in and out of the pits so far. JJ and Neil and Johan, that is in the pits. So if Johan comes out ahead of JJ van der Merwe, where's JJ? There's JJ coming through, and Johan is getting going, so he'll probably then surpass JJ. There comes JJ at the beginning of the straight. There is Johan at the end of the straight going down into Primera corner. That's known as Primera. Then it does that tight turn on you. Lagos through turn 5. Take the climb and the long straight. Coming up towards Torre. Johan Verri, the lead man that's been in and out of the pits. Coming up to a very tight left-hander. Turns almost 180 degrees right back on you. It's going to go through the kink, turn 7. The right-hander, turn 8 coming up. Well, let's put a track map up on there that you can have a look-see. There you can see where he is on the track right now. But let's go back to the front end of the field. Willem Botha has not been into the pits. Gerald Verri's not been into the pits. Leighton Verri, he be a flying. But Leon van Wyck's not being lost in this one. Leon van Wyck holding on pretty neatly onto the back end of Leighton. Leighton not really getting away that much. Having a look at that gap, it's Timothy Stanton that's all over the back of Leon, and Timothy, having gotten to the back of Leon, says, I'm not going to get stuck behind you. I'm going into the pits. So, into the pits is Willem Botha, is Leighton Verri, it's Timothy Stanton, it's Carl Lawrence, it's Christian van Wyk. And edging ever closer comes the main man, Johan Verri, who has been in and out of the pits already. We should see him coming into the straight in the not too distant future. There comes Johan Fourie. And there's Willem Botha from Johan Fourie, and they side by side. Johan Fourie says it's now or never. I have to get through these first 3 turns in front. And he does exactly that. Johan Fourie from Willem Botha. There's Leighton Fourie in the background. The high-flying racer Timothy Stanton, the fastest accountant in South African iRacing. Ahead there of JJ van der Merwe. Disappointment for Carl Lawrence because he was doing exceptionally well up until that point. Further back, Christian van Wyk as he bounces over the curbstone. And then here comes Neil Lambrecht. So it hasn't worked out nicely for Neil at all. The man from Induction Noise, powered by ROWE, always get that one wrong, lubrication. Willem Botha and Johan Fourie, first and second of the people in and out of the pits. Now, when Gerald Fourie comes out, where does he find himself in this picture? I seem to think that Gerald Fourie is going to slot in probably between Leighton and Timothy. We're about to find out, because Gerald Fourie is into the pits, Leon van Wyk is into the pits, Peter van der Spey is into the pits. That's the last 3 cars that have to come into the pit lane. Johan Fourie will be the lead car that's going to be coming through. They've got to get in and out of the pits in time. Let's have a look at this from upstairs. They are all in the pit lane. Where is Johan Fourie? There comes Johan Fourie and Willem Botha. On his way out is Gerald Fourie and then Leon van Wyk. Who's going to get the better of it? I think it's going to be the 2 that's out on circuit. And yes, they do. They managed to go through. Johan Fourie, Willem Botha, Gerald Fourie, Leighton. Now Leighton's got work to do. Leighton's got big work to do and big names to go and fetch. Leon ahead of Timothy that started stone last from 11th up to 6th position. Peter van der Spey with nothing to lose, the only super senior out there, doing an excellent job, finding himself just ahead of JJ that came second from the back of the pack. Carl Lawrence, that was exceptional starting in the front 6, but has dropped now down 4 positions down to 9th position. So he'll be disappointed with that one. From Christian van Wyk, the next man in there. But the battle is right there. That is where the real deal is on about. And Gerald Fourie is coming to play. Gerald Fourie is coming to play with. This is going to become a 3-way battle. It's coming right up to the back of the 2 of them. The more they squabble and fight and cover lines, the more Gerald says, keep on doing that. Keep on doing that. I'm coming. I'm coming to fetch you. Keep an eye on the 3.2nd. Leighton behind Gerald Fourie. 3.7. Well, make that 3.6. It's one thing for Leighton, for Gerald to use the slipstream of Willem and Johan. It's not a major factor, but it is a factor. It does help. Gerald will close up onto the back of the 2 in front of him with that little bit of assistance of the less turbulent wind. Look how he lines it up millimeter perfect to get the best possible assistance. But once Gerald gets to the back of Willem, at that point it's going to be Leighton that's going to be closing on the 3 of them, because if this becomes a 3-way battle for the lead, they will slow one another up just that 10th here and there when you ride those safe lines. And that's where Leighton's going to be in on it. Leighton's actually falling back because Gerald Fourie has now picked up that slipstream, and that has dragged him closer to the back end of Willem Botha as we ride on board with Gerald Fourie. The 3-way battle is on. Slightly different line that he takes there with that one. This is going to be battle royal. Let's hope that it lasts all the way to the end. There you can see Leighton in the background, and then behind that, Leon van Wyk. Johan Ferry is doing it all right now. Willem Botha, the meat in the sandwich. This is the Battle Royal. Willem loves that part of the track as he dives through Craig Jones' corner towards Portimao. Takes the big turn through 13, dropping down towards Sagres. Down the hill you go. Now you start the climb, and that long run towards the line. Leighton Ferry 4.4. Leighton has not been able to catch yet, and having said that, Timothy Stanton's all over the back of Leon. Johan Ferry confident. Center stage, center of the track, but he's going to have to close off that left-hand side. Sorry, the right-hand side, should I say. He stayed there as the... Oh, now he tries to push Willem towards the outside to make sure that he gets as good a line there as possible, and runs it very, very wide. Willem Botha. Oh, a little nudge there. Backs out, makes sure nothing goes wrong. Gerald Ferry says, thanks, I'll come and play with. Can Gerald Ferry consummate that one? Leighton now down to 3.8, 3.7. Leighton's going to start closing. 19 minutes 41 into this. And Leighton is now going to start closing, because now they're going to fight one another. There's no assistance for Gerald anymore. There's hindrance for him with what's in front of him. Leighton down to 3.7. Can he bring it closer? There comes Leighton through now. Behind Leighton is Leon van Wyk and Timothy Stanton. Johan Ferry's got the pressure on him. Lots of pressure on him. Willem Botha having started in fourth, right up into that second position. You'll see Timothy Stanton's now putting the pressure on Leon van Wyk as well. Johan Ferry gets a little bit of a breather as Gerald Ferry works over the back bumper of Willem Botha, forces Willem to ride a slightly tighter line. Can't carry that speed through, sticks it up on the inside of Willem Botha, does Gerald Ferry, goes up into that second position. Now, what does Willem Botha do? There's 4 minutes and 20 seconds to go right now. Can he get to the back end of Johan Ferry? Leighton down to 3.4. Leon, Timothy, pretty close to one another. Here comes Willem. Here comes Willem. And Leighton's looking, thinking, man, I'd love to go and play with that. Here comes Willem Botha. Willem Botha's going hunting. Is Willem Botha going to go for that inside line? Gerald Ferry, super confident to carry enough pace through there that he doesn't have to close that line off. He knows if I'm on the limit and Willem tries to outbrake me, he's going to make contact between the two of us. And Gerald Ferry did a very confident entry to the corner. And in fact, Gerald Ferry has gone to go and fetch Johan Ferry with 3.5 minutes to go. 3.5 minutes. And Gerald Ferry is going hunting. What does Willem do now? Probably for the next lap and a half, you'll find Willem's going to sit tight, look, watch and wait, hope they attack one another, maybe affect one another. As we see Leon van Wyk running wide with Timothy Stanton all over his back bumper. Leighton has gone down to 4.1. Leighton can't catch them. The front three are quick enough to stay out of the clutches of the ADAC racer. Gerald on the back of Johan. Just over 2.5 minutes to go. Lap 11 of a possible 12 laps. Does Willem look and watch and wait, or does he go on the attack? If Willem goes on the attack on Gerald, Johan's going to get away. That's a given. If he can wait just a little bit, that Gerald can attack Johan and he can be close enough and opportunistic enough, Willem stands a chance for a race victory. He's got to decide between those two, and that is if he can get to Gerald, because Gerald's actually the quickest out there right now. He's gone to fetch Johan. Johan Ferry moves it across towards the right-hand side. He doesn't go right up against the wall, but he goes close enough. Here comes Gerald Ferry. Gerald goes up on that line, and they side by side. They give one another just enough space. Johan Ferry not backing out of that one, and Willem decides not enough time. I've got to go for it. I've got to go for it. Gets himself between Gerald and Johan. Gerald fights back once again. What an enthralling battle this is. Three masters, utter iRacing masters. Is Gerald going to go for it? If he does, he will lose space coming out of the corner. Gives Willem enough room. Willem tries to squeeze him back just a little. Timothy Stanton still on the back of the being IT entry of Leon van Wyk. Willem goes back into that position. They are on the last lap. They've already got the white flag, and as we said, if they start fighting it out, it gives the win to Johan Ferry. Well, they had to make up their mind which way they're going to go, and he's going to go back in there once again. Try and do the proverbial cutback. There's just 3 more corners to go in real terms. Willem Botha, Gerald Ferry, literally handing the victory on a plate to Johan, because they're fighting it out for the second and third. If they, oh, he's going to go around. Willem Botha, I think, started to lose the tail end just a bit. Can he get it going quick enough? No. Leighton Ferry says, have a nice day. I'll take that position away from you. Right on the last. I think the back end just started to come a little bit, and that retarded his pace just a little. And well, when that happens in front of you, there's nowhere to go. And it's going to be checkered flag for Johan Ferry from Gerald Ferry. Leighton says, I'll take that third place. Thank you, Willem. Willem just ahead of Leon van Wyk, who just beats out on Timothy Stanton. Peter van der Spey and JJ van der Merwe as they come through. Christian van Wyk, Carl Lawrence having fun. Didn't get the kind of result that he wanted. And poor old Neil Lamprecht, it just did not work out for him in this one whatsoever. So on the invert, you'll probably find they're going to invert the top 6, 7, 8. Could put Peter van der Spey right on the front row of the grid. Could put JJ on the front row of the... Now JJ is another one. If JJ gets away at the front, you don't catch him very easy. Not at all. We've seen him do some amazing runs at the front end. Right, let's have a look at that result. As soon as the computer makes that result available, there we go. Right, let's clear that side. Let's put it all over here. Johan Ferry, faultless. Timeless, faultless, full of pace. Gerald Ferry, what a fight. What a fight. Leighton, Willem. I think Willem started to lose the tail end slightly. That made him go all of a sudden a little bit slower. Gerald, well, what do you do at that point? You keep your foot down. You're a racer. You do what you need to do. Leon van Wyk did a good job to hold out on Timothy Stanton. I would say this one should go to... Look, Johan was brilliant. But for fighting spirit, I think that one must go to Gerald Ferry. A very, very close contender to him would be Johan. Bad luck I would give to Willem, because it was just that one little instance. And I mean, the Race Driver SA Esports entry was good all night long. It was just that one little time that it didn't work out, and that took him out of the front three. And at one stage, he was going for Johan Fourie for a win. So bad luck, I would put there for Willem. And the biggest mover on the grid must go through Timothy Stanton, who started from the back end of the pack, went up 5 positions, put Peter van der Spey, JJ, Christian, Carl, and Neil Lampers of Induction Noise Racing, powered by ROWE Lubrication, all of them behind him. Right, we got about a minute, and we're going to come back to you with race number 2. A massive big thanks to our sponsor, Induction Noise, powered by ROWE Lubrication. So here we go, race number 2, and let's have a look at that grid. Neil Lamprecht, and Carl Lawrence. Either of those two get away and run, you're going to battle. Christian van Wyk didn't have it his own way in race number 1, and JJ, that started off the back end of the pack, will want to make a plan in this one. This is going to be very tight at the front end of the pack, that is for sure. Off the line they come. Neil's got a good run. Neil's got a very, very good run, and he will get the dive down towards turn number 1. Carl Lawrence, the next man that's in there. JJ van der Merwe will be in third. Then it will be... Willem Botha spun at the back of the pack. Willem Botha has spun. So he's going to have to fight from the back of the pack. And there is Christian van Wyk as well. Gerald Fourie finds himself behind Timothy Stanton. Timothy Stanton's got a little bit of space between himself and Johan Fourie, so he will try and emulate exactly what Johan Fourie's doing. In front of that is Leighton Fourie, and Leighton is all over the back end of Peter van der Spey. Peter takes a decisive defensive line, holds Leighton out. Johan Fourie says, while you guys are battling for this one, I'll just go right around the other side. Peter van der Spey, which side do you cover? It looks like it's going to be Leighton that's going to try and go up when he's inside. Johan Fourie has got to decide which way do I go from here. Leighton goes the one way, I'll go the other. Peter van der Spey gets it wagging as he comes up over the rise. Leighton Fourie is closer, but Peter van der Spey is running that protective line. Can Leighton stick it up now on that inside of Peter van der Spey? Oh, and he goes around, does Johan Fourie. I think that was self-inflicted. I don't think that was anybody else that was involved in that one. I think it was all by himself. We'll try and pick that one up for you on a replay. Let's have a look at Willem Botha first of all. I think Willem Botha was self-inflicted. Might have had a little nibble there from behind. It's difficult to see if we can ride on board with Timothy Stanton. Very close, very close, very close. Let's go a little bit further back. No, it was not. It was not contact from behind. It was contact from the side that created that one. Christian using a little bit too much curbstone. Second time too much curbstone. That's exactly what these cars do. Let's have a look from Johan Ferrie's point of view. Yeah, Johan Ferrie actually sacrificed himself to not make contact. I think it was Leighton that was just in front of him. No, that was Peter van der Spey. Yeah, he actually gave himself a spin around to not make contact with the car that he was closing down on. So that's very sportsmanly, to throw your own race away to make sure you don't throw somebody else's race away. And as I said, if Neil Lamprecht from Induction Noise, powered by ROWE, gets away, he flies. Carl Lawrence, another one. Give him half a, don't give him half a chance. Give him half a chance. He gets a gap. He puts those laps in systematically, one after the other. He will do it. JJ, nothing to lose right now. He came off the back of the pack for race number 1. Finds himself on the invert, starting near the front end of the grid. He's got Leon van Wyk directly behind him. Just behind that comes Peter van der Spey. Peter van der Spey would have had Johan Ferrie directly behind him if Johan Ferrie didn't do the gentlemanly thing and take himself out rather than take out Peter. As Leon goes up on the inside of JJ, and I don't believe JJ can do the cutback there either. Timothy runs it pretty wide. Johan Ferrie's through. So Gerald Ferrie from Leighton, from Willem Botha, that's been in and out for the stops. Keeping in mind they are the quickest out there, but Neil has had nothing in front of him. If you look out his front window, that's what he sees now, and that's what he's seen all race long. No problems whatsoever. So he's been putting in some pretty decent laps. Let's have a look. What is his last lap time in open air? 202.4. The only person that was quicker than him was Timothy Stanton and Johan Ferrie. Timothy Stanton's on quite a bit of a flyer. Neil, Kyle, Leon, JJ, Peter, Timothy, Johan. Christian van Wyk. Then, having been in and out of the pits, Gerald, Leighton, and Willem. Running it right into that rev limiter. Oh, that's a big, big space that he's got to try and make up. He's 2/10 off what was done by Leighton. Leighton having not been into the pits, Gerald having been into the pits on the last lap. So you can't compare those two lap times. I'd like to think that that sound is pretty much a latency situation and not running into the rev limiter, because there's no ways that Willem would run it into the rev limiter for that long at all. Being a workshop man, I'm sure that he'll climb out of the car and do whatever he needs to do to make it all happen. Kyle trying to hold on to Neil Lamprecht. Neil Lamprecht is running. Neil Lamprecht is running and running hard. The man from Induction Noise, powered by ROWE, is up front, 202.1. Half a second slower. Half a second slower, half a second slower. Peter van der Spey slightly quicker. Peter van der Spey was the fastest man on the last lap. We're right on board with Peter van der Spey. So that shows you there is a gain to be had with GR86s. If you've got a nice slipstream that you can catch in on. Peter's pushing hard and closing on JJ. Super smooth. Desperately wanting to get on the gas. You can hear him touch, touch, touch on the accelerator. He wants to get on the gas as quick as possible. Peter van der Spey, super senior, 5th overall. Gerald, Leighton and Willem having been in and out of the pits. There you see the leader, Neil Lamprecht of Induction Noise. You'll see him now as we go through this corner. Carl Lawrence in the Canon Labatt's car in second. The being IT of Leon van Wyk in third. JJ van der Merwe in fourth as we ride on board with Peter van der Spey. Not that far behind Peter van der Spey is Timothy Stanton, and we know Timothy Stanton has done some pretty quick times. Timothy Stanton's best lap is a 2:01.99, and Timothy Stanton is the only person so far 10 minutes and 5 laps into this race to break a 2:02. Obviously using the slipstream, but that's what it's all about. That's what you've got to do. You've got to make use of that slipstream. Can Peter close down? 0.4, 0.44, still 0.4. Nope, there's nothing extra to be had in that, because remember, JJ is picking up a bit of a slipstream from the car in front. JJ makes a slight error, and that brings Peter van der Spey a whole bunch closer. Mustn't get excited now. Peter van der Spey, just carry that pace through. Rub the back bumper of JJ van der Merwe. Say, come on, boy. Time to rock and roll. Leighton Fourie is 0.4 behind Gerald Fourie. Remember, Johan Fourie is literally at the back of the pack of the cars that have not been in and out of the pits. Let's see why exactly, what took so long for him. Climbs on the brakes, make sure that he misses Peter van der Spey. Points in the wrong direction. Well, they didn't lose out too much time on that one. Then why is he so far back? Hasn't been into the pits. So Johan Fourie with a lot of work to do. 2.6 off the back of Timothy. Timothy 2.5 off the back of the man that we're riding on board with, Peter van der Spey. Keeping a beady eye on the back end of JJ, Leon, the Canon Labatt's car in front of that, and there, the little dot going over the horizon. Decides, you go in, I don't. Peter van der Spey's now got open ground between himself and Leon. As he works his way down towards Primera corner. So here comes Gerald and Leighton. JJ's in the pits. Carl is in the pits. Johan kept on going. JJ still standing. Father-son combination. Papa Bear in front, Junior behind. Decide the fastest way to go is bumper to bumper. American style. And Carl Lawrence comes out. And JJ comes out in front of Gerald and Leighton Fourie for how long? Up on the inside. You go through, I'll go with, says Leighton. Eats up the green mean machine of a JJ. JJ will think, damn boy, there was one chance that I had. It didn't take much for these two to come through. Carl Lawrence will look in the mirror and say, oh dear, look what I've got looming behind me. Gerald and Leighton. Leighton won't fight Gerald. Leighton will tailgate Gerald and push him to make him faster, to be able to get around the track as quick as possible. So Carl Lawrence, a brilliant so far race number 2. Can he hold on for 11 minutes? I'd like to think so, and I tell you what, I'll give him driver of the day, driver of the race, driver of the series, if he can do that. But I somehow don't think it's possible. Neil Lamprecht has gone into the pits. Now the next trick is, where does Neil Lamprecht come out of the pits? Neil has gone in, Leon has gone in, Peter's gone in, Timothy's gone in, Johan Fourie has gone in. So Johan Fourie has closed up on the back of them. Carl Lawrence is the lead man right now. There they're all into the pits. So where is Carl Lawrence? Here comes Carl. Anybody in the pit lane? That is where they stand. Where's Carl Lawrence? Here comes Carl Lawrence. And everybody's trying to get out of the pits. And Carl Lawrence, he be a coming. Is it going to be Neil Lamprecht? Is it going to be Neil Lamprecht from Leon van Wyk? Is it going to be Carl Lawrence? Is going to come through there, and it's going to be Leon trying to pick up pace, and Carl will beat Leon as he goes through the corner. The two Fouries in there behind that, Gerald and Leighton. Now, you know what they do? They mug people. Oh! Leighton touches up against Gerald and sends Gerald packing. It worked so well for them, and now it didn't. But it's Neil Lamprecht from Carl Lawrence. The blue from the yellow and blue, then the red of Leighton Fourie, then the white of Leon van Wyk. Then there's a bit of a gap. Peter van der Spey, 5th overall. Behind Peter van der Spey, the green one is JJ van der Merwe, the multicolour is Timothy Stanton. The white based with the red and black in there is Johan Fourie, and then the gap back to Willem Botha. And then the recovering Gerald Fourie behind that. The closest battle right now is Johan Fourie on Timothy Stanton. Johan Fourie closing down pretty hectically. There is no ways he's going to give that one away whatsoever. He's right in there where it counts. All over the back bumper right now. Johan Fourie on Timothy Stanton. JJ van der Merwe takes a slightly different line as he works his way through there. Dives for that inside line. Johan Fourie on Timothy Stanton, and Johan Fourie, the main circuit guru, makes that one stick. They work their way through Sagres, down through the dip, up towards Galp, going out into the front main. 0.3 of a second. Leighton Fourie on the back end of Carl Lawrence in the Canon Labatt's car. Can Carl Lawrence close that line off as he moves across towards the inside? He's got to close it off. If Leighton's that close, Leighton's going to go for the dive. Leighton goes for the dive a little bit earlier. That's a bit of intimidation that Leighton Fourie's doing on Carl Lawrence right now. Oh, they make a bit of contact, rubs the back bumper of Carl Lawrence, and Leighton Fourie moves up into that second position. Carl Lawrence tries to go for the cutback, but don't forget about the blue mean machine at the front end of the pack. That is Neil Lamprecht. The man from Induction Noise started in pole position, got it in and out of the pits. He's had nobody in his front windscreen all night long for race number 2. He's got a 1.2 on Leighton Fourie, who's got Carl Lawrence rubbing his back bumper, who's got 2.5 car lengths on Leon van Wyk, the being IT man from Super Senior, Peter van der Spey. Johan Fourie's got all the work to do. He's got up 5 positions. Started from the back end of the pack, did Johan Fourie, the main circuit guru. gone up 5 into that 6th position. Holding on to the back end of him is still JJ van der Merwe. That's right in there. Then it's Timothy Stanton. Timothy Stanton is closing now on the back end of JJ van der Merwe. Can he make the move as they work their way into that very tight section, turn number 13? I don't believe he's going to get in any deeper than what he is right now. That's about as deep as he's going to get. Nope, the order that they're in with 18 minutes and 40 seconds to go. That is how this one's going to play itself out. Anything's possible from here. Everybody giving it their all. Trying to see what he can do at this point. I don't believe that he's going to be able to make that passing maneuver. Neil Lamprecht still leading them out. Dives across towards the right-hand side of the circuit. Here's Leighton Fourie, closes off. Carl Lawrence hasn't given up whatsoever. Carl Lawrence is right in there behind him. Leon van Wyk hope that they slow one another down. He's got a bit of a gap from Peter van der Spey. Peter van der Spey's got Johan Fourie that's closed up onto his back bumper. Johan goes for the inside line under braking. I don't think Peter van der Spey will fight that. He can't even go for that cutback because Johan Fourie has closed that cutback line off. Just behind that, JJ van der Merwe, Timothy Stanton in a massive battle. But the reason for that is the pressure on Timothy Stanton from the Toyota Gazoo man, Willem Botha, the crew chief for Toyota Gazoo for the last 12, 13, 14 Dakar races. Very deft behind the steering wheel. The closest battle, Willem Botha on the back end of Timothy Stanton. The son of Roly Stanton, Roland Manifolds, iconic in the world of motoring in terms of intake manifolds, production and design thereof. But the man that started at the front, 20 minutes, 24 seconds gone out of this 25 minutes, lap 10. Just 2 more laps to go. That's all that's in it. And Leighton Fourie's going hunting. Leighton Fourie has closed up onto the back end of Neil Lamprecht. Now, Neil Lamprecht knows he's on for a driver of the day if he can beat out on Leighton Fourie. If he can beat out on Leighton Fourie, I will give him driver of the day, not just of race number 2. How do you keep out the ADAC man for that long? 2 more laps to go as they come across the line. Carl Lawrence doing everything he needs to do to keep ahead of Leon. Behind Leon is that next batch of cars. Johan Fourie, Peter van der Spey, Super Senior, JJ van der Merwe, Timothy Stanton, Willem Botha. Willem Botha's going to go and have a look at that inside line. If he does not get Bolt, no, he doesn't. Timothy Stanton says, I'm fast enough to stay there. I'll stay right where I am. You, Willem Botha, find a way around me. Timothy Stanton, in fact, has a go at the back end of JJ van der Merwe, who is now all over the back end of Peter van der Spey. But we've got to go back to the front end of the field because look at this. Not only has Leighton Fourie gone to... Oh, here comes the comeback. Here comes the cutback. Can he do it? Leighton Fourie has gone to fetch Neil Lamprecht, but he's brought with him Carl Lawrence and Leon van Wyk has closed up on them as well. Lap 11, 1 more lap to go after this one. The 4 of them are tied together with a small piece of sellotape. Neil Lamprecht has got to do it all right. Let's have a look. Looking back from Neil Lamprecht, that is what he sees. That high-speed train directly behind him. 0.3 of a second, 0.4 of a second, and 0.3 of a second. That's the gaps between them. Carl Lawrence goes for the late apex. Gets good drive out of the corner, but Willem, I think, got his line utterly perfect there. Not losing any power or straight line speed as he used the curbstone. Comes out of the corner very neatly, making use of those Continental tires. Climbs on the brakes, decides now's not the time to do it. As they work their way through Sagres Corner on the Algarve Circuit, turn 14, now down towards Galp, or should I say up towards Galp. First take a bit of a rise, then the dip. Neil's got to cover that inside line. Leighton Veree does the dive towards the inside, and he squeezes himself in as the white flag comes out. He's right up against the wall. Neil tries to squeeze him, but Leighton Veree timed it perfectly. He's got a half a car diving now towards the outside. Neil Lamprecht has got to go for the cutback. Leighton Veree's got to try and cover that line. Leighton Veree runs it wide. Now it's Carl Lawrence that goes up on the outside line, carries good speed through there. Carl Lawrence goes up into that second position, gets the tail end wagging. That brings the Being IT entry even closer. But Leighton Veree has gone to the front. Leighton Veree, and Neil Lamprecht starts flashing lights. He says, "You got to go, boy. You gotta go, because I've got these two directly behind me." And it's Leon that's going to have a look up on the inside of the Labatt's car, and he does exactly that. The Being IT entry on the last lap. They side by side as they work their way through the Craig Jones corner, coming out of Sangsum up towards Portimao. Carries that speed in there very nicely. We are on the very last lap. There's just 7 more corners to go. Leighton Veree, nice and smooth. Neil Lamprecht has got the drive out of the corner. He's closed right up onto the back bumper. He's right in there where it counts. Can he make the move? He's going to go for that outside line. Cuts across towards the inside line. Sticks it straight over the curve. Can he slow it down? Leighton Veree says, "Have a nice day, bud. I'll just pop up on the inside and take that one back again." And Leighton Veree goes back to the front. Nobody's going to catch Leighton from here. I believe Leighton Veree's got it from Neil Lamprecht. Carl Lawrence, brilliant. Carl Lawrence, brilliant. Can you believe it? The Cannon Labatt entry. Ahead there of Leon van Wyk as well. Ahead of Johan Veree, Peter van der Spey, Willem Botha, JJ van der Merwe. It's all about the ADAC entry at the front end of the pack. And he's going to go for the checkered flag. Leighton Veree, Neil Lamprecht, Carl Lawrence, Leon van Wyk, Johan Veree, Peter van der Spey. Willem sticks it into the wall. And that's going to cost him a whole bunch of points. The next one that's going to be coming through will be, JJ's gone through, Gerald's gone through, Timothy's gone through, and then Christian van Wyk. Yo, one of the best races of the season, right at the end of the season. So let's clear that out for you, and let's have a look at that one. Leighton Veree, Neil Lamprecht, Carl Lawrence. You got to give this to Neil Lamprecht, the man from Induction Noise, powered by ROWE. You got to give race number 2 to him. He started at the front. He was right at the front all day long, right at the end, having to yield that lead position to the superstar Leighton Veree. I give race number 2 to Neil Lamprecht. And you know what I think on overall performance for the day? Let's just have a look here quickly. Carl Lawrence 5th on quali. Carl Lawrence, okay, he came up 10th there. No, so that takes him out of that for driver of the day. Johan Veree, 1 good, 1 bad. Leighton, a 1st and a 3rd. Gerald, 2nd in quali. Second in heat number 1. Eighth. Let's make it difficult. All right. I'm going to say the driver of the day for this one, I think it's got to go to Neil Lamprecht. Let's go with that one. Neil Lamprecht, driver of round number 12, season number 15, Sports and GT GR86s from Algarve. Well, folks, that wraps it up for the season. A massive, massive, massive big thank you to Induction Noise, powered by ROWE, our main sponsor for the event, for the series as such. And I think it's been an awesome series. It really has. Plans from now through to December, not too sure. Maybe we'll run a short series, say maybe a 6-race series between now and Christmas. But barring that, we'll do a whole bunch of fun events in between, and then we'll start with season 16, probably week 3 or week 4 in January. From me, Gary Fleming, Second Gear Productions, been an honor and a pleasure to go through 15 seasons of racing with you, and look forward to season number 16. From me, from now till the next round, cheers everybody.